Hello and welcome to the Side Character Podcast, where we are all insignificant compared to Tomo.
My cat.
Yes, who is currently not in shot, I believe.
No, definitely not.
Well, we've had our lunch, we've recovered, and we are about to slide all the way down again. Because
And
we have quite a supply here.
intoxicate ourselves with a very Dutch drink.
Just so it's on the record, I am still Casper, and this is still Petri.
Oh shit, I'm not intoxicated yet.
Not yet.
I'm not drunk yet.
So let's just dive into this and try these.
Cheers. Just to be clear, this is Jenever. I think the outlandish, the equivalent is gin, but with slightly more taste. Because gin is derived from Jenever. That's why it's called gin, from Jenever.
Okay. I hadn't made that connection, actually.
And there you go.
Let's have a sip.
I fucking love this one.
Yeah, I definitely see why this is your thing.
Slight taste, not too strong. But this is not a podcast about alcohol.
No, but it's actually a quick aside, because it's still hilarious. When we were in Germany, you tried to buy something like this. You wanted an alcohol that's kind of like Jenever, but in exactly the way you describe it. It needs to be a little sweet, not too strong of a taste.
Not too strong of an alcohol taste. It shouldn't taste sterile.
No.
And then a slight sweetness to it. So I asked this very nice man, by the way. He was very nice.
He was very friendly.
Just a bit confused. So I asked for that, and he came back with some kind of liquor. And I was like, fine, I'll
fruit liquor.
Fruit liquor. I'll try it. And we were back in the hotel room. Took one sip. Nope, this is not mine anymore.
This is all fruit.
This is all for Brian.
Yeah, just most intense fruit taste.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
God damn.
Didn't even taste the alcohol. It was just...
It was syrup.
Yeah,
It was
basically, yes.
It was syrup you can get drunk on. Adult syrup. That's also, you know what? I'm not going there.
Let's not get into that. Well, by lack of something to talk about in regards to my hobbies here, we figured it'd be fun to actually talk about how we got into anime to begin with.
Yes.
Which seemed like too big of a topic to just fit into our already overcrowded schedules for these podcasts.
Yes, because as I said, we were pretty much on the dot with 2 hours.
Yeah. Wow, that was
pretty nice.
perfect.
That being, I already scrapped a few things. And if I added the things that I wanted to add, that would have easily been 3 hours. So
Yeah.
At least we have a lot of stuff to talk about for the next few podcasts.
At least put together, we have the brain capacity to figure out when we've gone too far.
Yes. But we'd like to engage our audience with how we started this treacherous journey that's called anime.
Just to be sure, are these the good lines that we're seeing on screen? Because I'm seeing a lot of flat lines.
Yeah, no.
It's doing the scrolling thing again.
There we
go.
That's us.
There we go. Excellent.
Just to be clear, our recording software just scrolls through the audio it's recording, and we have 14 tracks that it's recording. So it goes all the way down, and most of those tracks are silent because we have 4 microphone tracks, a USB track, a phone track, a Bluetooth track, and all the button tracks, which let me just introduce you to the nut button.
I forgot that we have the buttons. Half of which are anime references that we don't even know.
NANI?!
Sometimes it's fun to just mess around with it, but
How many hundreds of euros extra did I pay to have those buttons, actually?
Boy!
Oh, the boy button. That neither of us watched the show for. That's like Ken Collie or something, isn't it?
yes. This Rode Procaster, I think it was about 430, but we had it with because it was second chance, so it's slightly cheaper. To be fair, it is bang for its buck, though. If you have to, compare it to any other mixer that's made for podcasting, this is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's The one piece of hardware that hasn't given us any trouble yet.
Yes, indeed. Well, the microphones have a pretty clean record.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that cable on your microphone sometimes goes messy.
Yeah, okay, but we usually detect that very early.
Yes,
But
exactly.
Might I point out that you put all the alcohol in front of the nostalgia stuff that you want to show?
No. You can exactly see it. I can see, so other people can see it.
All right.
Be smart.
Well, getting into anime is always kind of a weird topic, especially for us dirty, fertile, filthy communist millennials.
Yes.
Because we got into it around the time that it just aired on mainstream TV, so there's kind of like...
Well, okay, we should clarify that, I think. It just aired on our TV being characterized as anime. Because lots of children's show are anime, it's just that it's not characterized as being anime.
Yeah, like my mother grew up watching Fables of the Green Forest, which is a world masterpiece theater anime.
Exactly.
But it wasn't characterized as, it was just sold as a cartoon.
Yes, exactly. And like Calimero for...
oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
And Alfred Jitoke Squawk, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but if you look at Pokemon, Pokemon, Metabots, Digimon, that's kind of where you have a harsh divide between, okay, you have the cartoons and this is something different. And we may not be able to immediately ascertain what that difference was, but there was a conscious difference between the normal cartoons and Pokemon.
Yeah, for me it was a certain detail that was put into character drawings. Because I remember being very bad at drawing when I was young. I couldn't draw for the life of me. But the moment I saw Dragon Ball, I really started to take to that art style. And I immediately laid the connection that it was slightly different than cartoons that I was watching. Mm-hmm. And...
all the names in these credits are so difficult to pronounce.
I didn't even see the credits, man. You didn't get that with You're In. Mm-hmm. No,
You're kidding.
Yeah. You're In presenting You're Kidding, presenting Cartoon Network, to be exact.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so I started drawing that, and my mother couldn't believe what she was seeing because it was actually fucking legible as what it was. Before that, just to remind you how bad I was at drawing, the first drawing my stepmother could recognize what I drew, she put it into a fucking painting list.
Oh.
She just...
Yeah, like a frame.
Yeah, she framed it instantly. Mm-hmm. That's how bad I was at drawing.
But what I'm getting at, we grew up in the era where TV was starting to actually air anime like consistently and distinctly.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of I think that's a little bit of deception, because when did you get into anime? Did you get into anime when you started watching Pokemon, or happened to find Dragon Ball Z or Card Captors?
I think it's about the distinction you make mentally.
Yeah, or is it when you like click it mentally, figure out, hey, this is something different, and you go on the internet and you find what was then the illegal anime distribution websites like Anime Shippuden and such.
Yeah, I mean, and the point I started, that wasn't even really a thing, because I consciously separated at the point I watched Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, okay. When you like click into Dragon Ball Z as one of your first things, that is such a difference. Yeah,
and I really chronologically, I'm going to go chronologically for my story at least.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
We moved from the village to the city, and when I put on TV, there was Dragon Ball Z to be precise, but you never got Dragon Ball. Well, that opened my eyes. Also, my cat is going crazy in the background.
Yeah, he's still having a field day with my bag, probably because he smells the ferrets.
Yeah, fair enough. And I, almost religiously started watching that. It aired 5 days a week.
You mentioned this when we were in the hotel, yeah.
Yeah, and it was on a channel called You're In, which had a block called You're Kidding, which sent out American Cartoon Network shows.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get American Cartoon Network, we had Cartoon Network for Benelux, I think.
I was actually not allowed to watch You're Kidding.
Fair enough.
That's what I mentioned before in the main Protagonist Podcast, is that later I ended up catching some of the Boo Saga. Yeah. But I never got to watch like Card Captors, who was also in You're Kidding, and never was allowed to watch that channel.
To be fair, when the Boo Saga was actually a thing, it wasn't even You're Kidding anymore, it was Toonami.
Okay.
It was Toonami at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It started. Let's see, 3:30 p.m. I distinctly remember all this. First, you had these call shows that started from 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Then Dragon Ball started for one episode every day. And then in the weekend, you get the recaps of all the episodes. So I watched every episode twice in my first run. But when that started, I also, On Your Kitten was also Gundam Wing. So that would be my second anime, I suppose. And Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura. Sailor Moon being slightly earlier than Dragon Ball. It would be on the weekends in the morning that would be on. And let's see, Gundam Wing was also a Saturday show. After that, distinct anime after that was a bit a long stretch because I had, after that, my first distinct anime that I remember is having school issues, getting kicked out of school because I was a rascal, and then religiously watching Bleach for a solid 4 days.
Yeah, because you suddenly had all that extra free time because you got kicked out of school.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of mirrors a different story by a family of mine who who just disappeared completely in one summer vacation and came out and he was up to date with One Piece.
Oof. Yeah, that's dedication.
That's a few years ago by now. I don't.
Yeah.
That was still viable back then.
Yeah, no, let's see. When I watched Dragon Ball, I got really into Dragon Ball Z, as in I even bought the unofficial magazines. And,
fan magazines.
Yeah,
awesome.
And they had the weirdest art style, like that super anatomically correct art style, which looks so weird on Dragon Ball characters. I even had the Dragon Ball GT chess set.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, nobody wanted to play chess with me after a week. Because you know me, I get really into something when I hook onto something.
Yeah.
So I got really good at chess, and for a short period of time, nobody wanted to play anymore.
Understandable.
Boo-hoo. I even, everything that was Dragon Ball related, I got in like this here, Glenat manga, which is the Belgium localized version of Dragon Ball here.
Yeah, it's not even Dutch, it's Flemish.
Yeah, well...
to be fair, it is kind of...
Dutch.
Yeah, it's neutrally voiced.
Yeah, it's fun because it even has the subscription in the back that you can pay for. Mm-hmm. So that you can get the chapters when they come out, or the volumes, I should say. But they're very badly translated. And the Dragon Ball manga had... different kind of art styles. It has the dark art style, as I shown you.
Yeah.
They get blown out to shit in this version. You literally can't see
It looks
Piccolo.
like the fucking printer was leaking.
Yes, it literally looks like Piccolo. Piccolo's just a black blotch. Okay. Let's see.
Do it, you can do it.
Yeah, you can see him there. It's actually freaking hilarious.
But you started out with Your Kidding then.
Yeah.
That is kind of interesting because almost everybody I know started out with Fox Kids.
Yeah, I can see that.
There were a few of the cool people that somehow got Your Kidding and were allowed to watch it.
Yeah, I was one of the weird ones in that regard. But that's mainly because my father was very busy with work. So he almost never had time to watch me. And he also had heart issues and didn't want to come upstairs in general. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where that ends. And my stepmother was very busy with, just the house. So she, as long as I was quiet and watching TV, she didn't really care much what I was looking at. To be fair, that's one of my fun memories. Or frustrating then, because I got the hand-me-down TV. My parents got a new TV when we moved in, and I got the old one. Problem is, while moving, it got knocked loose or something, because it just, at random, would just shut down. Yeah. And the only way to power it up again is to smack it.
Yeah, violence, that's the old way.
Good old CRTs, baby. Mm-hmm. And I remember distinctly that I was 8, slightly too big for my age, and absolutely rammed the ever-living shit out of it, and just the front fell out. Watching Dragon Ball Z because I didn't want to miss it, and it just kept shutting down. Got annoyed, slapped the shit out of it, and it just fell down. Father got upstairs for a different. And just, yeah, we're going to buy a new one.
Legit though, I appreciate that your dad didn't get mad about that because...
Oh no, he knew.
Those old TVs ran on violence.
Yes.
And a threat of violence.
Yes. And he knew damn well that the thing wasn't working well anymore. And at that time, I also got Dragon Ball GT Final Bout for the PS1, which is a horrible first Dragon Ball game to ever play. You also got that, right?
Yeah, I got it on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, and I had that on the PlayStation 1. But the problem being, Dragon Ball Z was the newest thing out on TV.
Yeah.
But this was Dragon Ball GT, so I was just looking at these characters like, what the hell are these? Luckily, I couldn't read that well at that time, so... No, that game is horrible. But it solidified my interest in Dragon Ball. That's for certain.
That's definitely for certain.
After that, as I said, Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura.
I'm kind of jealous of you there, actually. Because that's the major difference between your kidding and...
Fox Kids.
Fox Kids, yeah. Fox Kids didn't have the shoujo influence in any capacity.
No, not really.
It had cartoons for girls, so you got Totally Spies.
Yeah, that's why what the point I was trying to make. I watched Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura when I was young, and I never distinctly made the difference between boy and girl anime.
No.
So I just watch everything at that point. So because I don't know how it was on your school, on the playground, but if you watched Totally Spies, you were definitely not a boy. And I was just in the background like, yeah, totally. I like Totally Spies too.
Yeah. If you watch Totally Spies, that's gay, and fuck shit, they were right. Fuck. My childhood bullies were right.
They were right all along. No, and I obviously got into Pokemon too, but it started with Dragon Ball Z, and after that, well, I got the Pokemon games first, but I wasn't in the Pokemon rage yet.
Yeah.
That started only after that, because then I got to our elementary school. And there it was popular, and then I started to watch the show, got the cards. You even had Pokemon Flippos here. You actually got a Dutch Pokemon Flippo news show.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I'm going to blow your mind with some random shit there.
Mm-hmm. No, I remember that. Like, Fox Kids had a lot of, like, live-action, like, shows, and where they would just have, like, Kim Lian.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a presenter for a lot of it.
Yep. And it was that was pretty fun. They were those Flippos were in lace bags as Smiths, I believe. Smiths and Lace.
Yeah.
Bags of chips. So you better believe that everyone went fucking nuts on those bags. And everyone was fucking begging their grandparents just to keep the bags for the Flippos in them.
Yeah, I was still playing soccer at the time when those things were hype.
Yeah.
And they had the exact right bags of chips there.
Yeah.
So for every soccer match I played, I had like 3 packs of chips.
Nice.
Yeah, they got the Flippos, yo.
That was the time when not everybody choked on little plastic things in chips bags, so that we can't have that today anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I don't know how they did that in Teal, but in Zolbobble you get you had the Pokemon card game, the PC version. You got that in the post with us. That game is fucking horrible, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I've shown you something about that. You have that 3D abomination that introduces itself.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And you can play a little bit of Pokemon card game. So for a short time, I actually knew how to play Pokemon the card game. Not for very long, because I just like to look at the pretty pictures.
Yeah. What most people did,
yes.
Really.
And then Digimon started, and then I, from a very young age, decided that Digimon was already better than Pokemon because it actually had a story.
Same.
I always liked Digimon more in that regard.
I fell out with Pokemon, and like once, like after the first season, when season 2 started, I already didn't really have much interest anymore.
I watched, let's see, until Advanced Battle, I believe. So that's like 7 seasons in or something.
I dropped out in season 2. Didn't even see all the episodes in it.
No, fair enough. No, I've watched pretty much everything at that time. I also played the Digimon World game.
Yeah.
Fucking frustration.
Wow, even like For a young kid, you were super good at video games, I sometimes notice, but holy shit, even for you, Digimon Adventure, the game, no.
No, that
Digimon World.
Yeah, Digimon World. That was just an exercise of frustration. Fun game when you know what to do, but otherwise, not a good game. I'm trying to think. Did I have any other anime-related games back then? I thought I did. But yeah, Digimon was always fun. You had Sonic X on Jetix then, by that point.
Yeah, that came out at some point, yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Metabots, obviously. See, what more was on Fox Kids that was anime?
Oh, I can help you with that, so let's tell my story.
Yes.
Yeah, for me too, at one point we eventually got more TV channels. At first we only had like the basic Dutch 1, 2, 3 channels.
Yeah, the MPO.
Yeah, the MPO indeed. And at one point we got Fox Kids, and I eventually got into Pokemon, as you do. I then also went into Operation, like a medical operation, and I ended up getting a whole lot of the VHS tapes of it, so I could caught up with the part of the story that I'd missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of set me off early on in the anime collecting, because I had the VHS tapes and I could rewatch them anytime, and I did that a lot, I might say.
That reminds me of something, but go on.
No, like I said, I got really into the Pokemon hype for the first season, but as things moved on, I eventually kind of lost interest in Pokemon. And over time, I began developing an interest in Digimon. I like Digimon far more than Pokemon.
Yeah.
And that eventually branched out. And for some reason, even back then, I was like a fucking, what do you call that? Elitist little prick. Like the early hipster, probably. Because I got super invested in Melancholy Knights and Shinzo.
Same. I really like those. Those were lovely.
Yeah, those were amazing. But I got into Shinzo and Shenzo/Musrambo. I got into Melancholy Knights. Yu-Gi-Oh! Eventually came out, and I got very much into that. And that's also the one I started playing the card game for.
Remember the caps?
The caps.
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Caps that you can get in the chips.
No, I didn't actually partake in that.
Because
I started eating healthier around that time, I think.
Yeah, I just got them out of random bags from family and friends of family. You also had the Pokemon coins, like the actual metal and glass coins.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that was also still Johto. Those were, you could kill someone with those. Those were actually heavy.
Kind of like a shuriken, maybe.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Just a blunt impact shuriken.
Yeah. No, I distinctly remember, because we had Fox Kids growing up. That was the biggest for general kids entertainment.
Yeah.
Later on, we got a bit of Nickelodeon, but that was a bit of a strangled Nickelodeon. I remember getting Fox Kids magazine a lot. I also had a subscription to that. You ever
I did.
Those?
Yeah. I had to think for a bit, but I did actually have that.
I distinctly remember, because Digimon Season 1 and 2 aired in the Netherlands, but Season 3 never did, Digimon Tamers, but they used it in a commercial. And I recognized it as Digimon Tamers, and I actually wrote to the magazine, "Yo, motherfuckers, you showing me this season, you're teasing me with the Season 3 shit when you showing it on TV." Never got a reply, of course, and not the exact words I used.
No.
But I distinctly remember reaching out to the magazine like, "Can we have this?"
Battery H7 paraphrased.
Yes. I actually really wanted that. Because I saw...
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, because this was at the point where I got a computer, so I was like 9 at that point. That's when we first got a computer. And Kazaa Lite and Livewire were a thing. And the little inquisitive Petri, of course, looks for Digimon, and the first thing he found was not hentai.
Oh.
Luckily. Because there's a lot.
Scanlations of the Shinchi weren't that easily distributed via LimeWire, though.
Yes. And I watched some Season 3 stuff, or the Mugen Train. Oh no, it was not Mugen Train, that's Demon Slayer. Yeah, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Illusionary Train, something along that way. I can just look it up.
Okay.
Let's see. Digimon Tamers movie train. I'll probably find it.
Around the time I was also just really into cartoons in general. So yeah, I also watched Sonic X, but I also watched all the other cartoons and Kids. It was just really an efficient channel. I did grow to kind of regret that I didn't watch You're Kidding. And as I mentioned in the Main Protagonist Podcast, I sometimes saw VHS tapes of anime in like the free record store or the music store. I ended up getting a few of those, and like that was just peering into a different world. Like, what is this language? It's English, you idiot.
Yeah, no, I got the Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes for the movies. And I remember just going to their Intertoys, and I was very familiar with the personnel at that point that worked there. And the dude always ordered stuff specifically for me because I was an elitist little prick.
Yeah.
So I wanted the specific stuff. I remember getting movie 7, 8, and 9 because they were impossible to get for Bart Smith, Intertoys, Top Swan Toys, whatever.
Yeah.
And he got them for me, so that was really fucking nice. I remember collecting those and the manga, of course. Getting into Digimon and such was a bit harder as a young fan in the Netherlands because, at this point I already got used to English stuff, so I preferred it most of the time. So Your Kingdom was perfect for me because that only put out the English dubs. Digimon was only on Fox Kids, and this was also the time I got into computers and such. So you get the world kind of breaks open at that point because you get your first Japanese anime, which would be for me Digimon Tamers, Buso Digimon Tokyo, also known as Runaway Locomon.
Yeah,
but that had some weird scenes in it, if I remember right. And I hope I remember wrong, and I'm going to look it up after the podcast because I don't want to actually say it on the podcast.
Okay.
And
sorry, you guys are missing out.
So when the internet really kicked off at my home, at least, I got into looking up a lot of anime like Shaman King, because
Shaman King I watched a bit of.
Yeah, the Dutch version is cut off very prematurely because they found out, oh god, episode 26 might have a speck of blood in it. Can't have that. By the way, the English version is fully censored, but the idea that there could be blood in the original version was enough to scrap it from TV here. So I had to look up the rest of the show in Japanese on fucking LimeWire at the time. That was an adventure.
I can imagine, yeah.
Looking up about 40 odd episodes on LimeWire is a minefield. As I said, I watched a lot of Dragon Ball and Digimon on LimeWire. Got a lot of that because I remember when torrents became more of a thing. The first Dragon Ball collection that was out there for all episodes by one group was 60 gigabytes. This is in the time where you are very happy if you got a hard disk that was bigger than 100 gigabytes. Our internet speed was a solid 1.5 megabit. So 160 kbps was our max. Downloading 60 gig was a horror show.
Okay, to contrast that, I was actually quite slow in learning English, which made those few VHS tapes that I picked up of Dragon Ball just kind of, I watched it a few times, but I didn't understand what was happening. I couldn't understand what was being said, so I kind of zoned out of that. That's also why I lost interest in Pokemon after a while, because I tried playing the Pokemon games and I couldn't figure them out.
No, exactly.
And then I also just, based on the anime, I lost interest because it's a very episodic storytelling. Every episode is just its own thing.
Yeah.
And I got frustrated with the lack of continuation, which is what Digimon did so much better.
Yes.
So I kind of got invested into that, and eventually I did learn English, of course. I mean, look at me.
Listen to us.
Listen to us. Heed our words. But yeah, by then I had other interests. But it's also, I mentioned Melancholy Knights and Shinzo earlier. Yeah. That's kind of what set off the trigger that I started getting into anime in my teenage years.
Yeah, fair. Almost same for me.
Because people, Shinzo and Melancholy Knights were kind of those lower down anime that not everybody watched, and those that watched them were like watching it until Pokemon or something else they were watching came on. It was poorly remembered, so I spent a lot of time trying to, like, I know I watched this fucking cartoon back in the day. They had these cool dudes in this post-apocalyptic world. I didn't know the word post-apocalyptic back then, don't worry.
Did you go to the same horror story I went to for Shinzo?
Go ahead.
Okay. I tried to find Shinzo again because the internet just became a thing, but the show was already over.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, but Yu-Gi-Oh was already on TV, and it had the monster Jinzo, and my head had just meshed them together. So I was looking up Jinzo, Siri, Jinzo, anime, and I couldn't fucking find it until I found, it's Shinzo, which is only the English name because the Japanese name is Mushirambo. Yeah, you're never going to fucking find it if you don't know the exact name of that show.
Nope, indeed. You mentioned that on the podcast before, and as I mentioned, at one point I just posted it on, I believe, Yahoo Answers. Like, hey, I remember this from this show and this from that show. Does anybody know what it is? And then the fucking guardian angel of anime descended upon that thread. Was, hey, I think you mean Shinzo and Monkoli Knights. Nice.
Exactly.
And then you start looking these things up on YouTube, and YouTube recommendations back in those days did its thing. You could link to Naruto and... Samurai Shampoo,
Shampoo.
Yeah,
I have it. Well, just to get back to the English bit, I started English and reading just in general very early because I had speech issues because I'm autistic, and that was a lot more expressed when I was younger. I just made random noises at that point. So when I was 4, they actually put me in speech training, which demands of you that you need to read. Because they need to know if what you're reading, that you can speak it.
Yeah.
So when I was 4, I already started reading stuff. So that was very early. And writing was when I was about 5. So I started that very early. So English kind of just rolled with it because I played games. And you just kind of have to know English for that. So that was very early for me. Yeah, so that made the early anime watching and searching a lot easier.
Yeah, I did play games, of course, but I play games like Mario, Banjo-Kazooie, where you can kind of intuit what you're supposed to do.
Instead of
they weren't translated, but you could kind of figure it out. And
yeah, just to make... it's not anime related, but I just like to put it out there. I started playing games when I was about 4 or 5. I got a Game Boy Color, got into games. My parents realized that I really liked that. So for my 6th birthday, I believe I got a PlayStation 1. And I had only a few games for it. So Formula 1, Smurfs, Lucky Luke, the simple games.
Yeah.
And I played those. And my parents went out shopping. I couldn't come with. I'm a 6-year-old. I will stay at home with my aunt and play some games. She'll just watch me. And my parents told me, well, we'll take some games with us for you. Okay. So they came home with 3 beautiful games to give to a fucking 60-year-old, of course.
All right.
South Park Rally.
Okay.
Beautiful start. A lot of cussing, many references. Patrick asking who the man on the screen is while Saddam Hussein's image flickers on the screen. And my parents just sitting there awkwardly like, we're not going to explain this to a 6-year-old.
Not yet.
Not yet. Second game, Resident fucking Evil. Also a good game for a 6-year-old to have. And let's give him some more psychological trauma. Let's give him fucking Silent Hill. Yeah, those were the 3 best games you could have gotten for me.
I ended up getting a PlayStation 1. This is a wild story that I'm going to rudely skim through. I got a PlayStation 1 from my aunt and uncle because my nephew was going to prison. And I had kind of the same encounter because he had a box of games that came with it. Some were appropriate, but like at the top were the games that he had recently played, and he was like 18, 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And the top game that he'd recently played was Resident Evil. And as you say, also the game next to that was Silent Hill, which were the first games I tried because they were on top.
Yes, of course. The worst part is you got a second hand, so perhaps there were even saves for that, so you don't even know what the hell was happening.
No, I distinctly remember playing the first portion of Silent Hill where you go into the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuck with me. Like, not even traumatically, but just I vividly remembered that happening.
Well, I wouldn't say it's traumatic. For me, it's just that it kind of shaped me from a young age for what I can tolerate from stuff. And Dragon Ball furthered that with its gore and violence. Yeah. So, especially since the version on Dutch TV was the uncensored Ocean dub at that time. We got the Ocean dub till Frieza. And that was uncensored. So we got the pretty picture from Reddit with a hole in his chest where it was just a slightly blackened frame. In the original dub, that was straight up a hole. You saw ribs and stuff. And Patrick, being 6-year-old, yay, ribs.
I like ribs.
I like ribs.
Oh, that's a sound effect.
This one too.
Boy.
No. But a little bit later, I got into the PS2 and such, and then you can get actually pretty good anime games. Because most PS1 anime games are trash tier, especially if they're localized. Because Dragon Ball Z Legends is the only good PS1 Dragon Ball game, and that one was Japan only. And you had Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22, and that had sprites from the SNES version of the game. So that was also a bit disappointing.
But to get back on track, I think the point where I started to actually commit to being an anime fan was around the age of 10 when I started looking up Mushrambo and such on online, and I eventually got through YouTube recommendations. I found Naruto, Bleach, and from there I spun off and started watching Hellsing, the original.
Yes.
That was in 2003, probably for me.
So when you were 8.
Yeah, I'm totally miscalculating. Might be a little later, maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah, for me, it's I took a bit of a break, not necessarily a break from anime in general, but being obsessed with it, because I still watched Dragon Ball. At that time, I even had some friends that liked Dragon Ball, and were allowed to watch it. Wow, that was a rarity. Wow. You can attest to that. That's a rarity in the Netherlands, being able to watch your kid in and not have your parents shriek at you. So that was nice. But at that time, I have little friends that actually liked more than just Dragon Ball. So I just kind of went with the flow and just watched Pokemon and went playing football with friends, soccer. When I truly came back to watching anime as a hobby and making it kind of an obsession was when I was 14, when I got kicked out of school. That's when I started to watch Bleach. I think I binged like 30 episodes in one day. Don't ask me where I got Bleach. That's confidential.
That's a secret. Bear share.
Bear share. Oh god. And before I'm going to jump a little bit back, because with the advent of the internet, I also realized that Fox Kids hosted all their episodes on their servers, because they have webisodes, they called them, and that was, for example, Beat 'em On.
Yeah.
And you could just there are 4 episodes online, and I just changed the URL to 5. Oh, and it just kept going and working. And then I realized, wait, if I change Beat 'em On to Dragon Ball, do I get anything? No. If I try Metabots, yes. Oh, I can watch the entirety of Metabots too. So I just kind of found out that you can watch the entirety of all anime or all series of Fox Kids via that platform, via a very shitty 240p Flash player that barely worked on my PC. But that was a fun experience to have, to find out.
I do have to say that my early anime career online was characterized by like obsessions.
Yeah.
I got into Naruto, I watched a whole bunch of episodes of that, then instantly and completely lost interest in it and never watched it again.
Fair enough.
I moved on to Bleach. I watched like up until the Soul Society arc.
The only good part of it, so.
Yeah, and like that was the only thing I watched. Just went straight for it.
Yeah.
Watched up to that arc, lost interest, never touched it again.
For me, I finished to what was available.
But then I got into Hellsing, and Hellsing is a shorter show. I believe it's 12 episodes.
Yeah.
And I compensated by that for just rewatching it, like, constantly.
Yeah, I feel that.
I sometimes rewatched Hellsing twice a day. if I had the time for it. I really liked that show. And then I moved on. Eventually, Elfenlied came out. My anime career is a fucking disaster right now.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Rewatched Elfenlied non-stop. Then Death Note came out, and I rewatched that until I eventually got a physical copy of it. And then I watched that as well, but only once. And then I moved on, and eventually, somehow, it clicked in me that, hey, you can watch more than one anime, boy. What?
What? Yeah, I started with Bleach. I think after Bleach, I actually watched Love Hina.
Oh, cool. That is rad.
About contrast. Speaking about contrast. Excuse me. I started watching that because I'm not sure where you are, but there were a lot of Flash games and there were a lot of dating sims.
Oh, yeah.
And there were these Love Hina dating sims. And I wasn't aware of that there was an anime of that at that point. And then I was like, I like these games.
Oh, man. Just a quick aside, like, early fucking Flash and Shockwave game websites were fucking wild.
Yes. Oh, just for people listening, please download Flashpoint Infinity. It's a collection of Flash games that will run on any modern PC. Just do it. Go on.
You have been advertised to.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. But there's a lot of preservation that had to be done there.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And still...
But you had, like, the few safe sites, like Neopets was, of course, a company that...
That's not even Flash, but yeah.
No, that's Shockwave.
Yeah.
But the Flash site, like the... Man.
Spellen, Game Hall.
Funny games.
Funny games.
There were, like, so many different ones, and, like, some of them were just... Some you could end up with dating sims. Some of you ended up with... anime-styled games, and some of them had links to porn.
Yep. They were a cesspool, generally. If they were a collection site instead of a creator site, they were a cesspool.
Yeah, like Armor Games and such, of course, they care about their content.
And minigames, I believe.
Yeah, but just the collection sites? No.
Oh, they were a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after Bleach, I got into Love Hina and Maburaho, I believe.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
I think Naruto was a lot later for me. That was, well, a lot later. But I say that, but between 14 and like 16, I watched such an ungodly amount of anime. Mm-hmm. I think like 2/3 of my list is literally from 14 till 16 on my list.
That's kind of the funny part, because I am incredibly nostalgic for that era in anime. And you outclassed me in it so much just because of your past. Because I was busy hyper-focusing on the one shows I watched at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to watch Love Hina until years later, and I fucking love Love Hina.
You gotta love Love Hina.
I stayed. Now I'm just going back to that era and actually experiencing all the things that I missed.
Yeah.
And I find that super interesting. And you're like, oh yeah, I've done that. I probably shouldn't rewatch it because my memories of it are probably better than the actual show.
Yeah, that's what because last year I did that a few times, like rewatch nostalgic shows with the score I had given it at that time. Mm-hmm. So like, I believe I gave, what show was it? Only one show went up. Ladies vs. Butlers, I rated at a solid 1. I rewatched that and it went to a 3. There were actually some enjoyable parts to it. But I don't remember which one. I rewatched an old show which I had pretty well rated, like a 7 or an 8. And I rewatched that and I was, this is like a solid 4 at best, man. My memory's ruined. And that's just kind of the struggle. Being...
Shall we get to this bad boy, by the way?
Yes. I'll drink my last bit.
Oh, I didn't know you still had.
I'm a slow drinker.
Go ahead. Yours the honor.
Yes.
I'll ramble a bit.
No, I was... It was weird.
Oh, the sound picked up real good.
Yeah. That's more than enough. I'm just going to push that one away. So.
Thank you. And now we need to revise the bottle setup.
Perfect. No, anime back then was... I just watched whatever the fuck I could get my hands on. Mm-hmm. Babaraho was
you were also an early sign-up for Bakabete, I believe.
Yes, box torrents at that point. It had a whole different name. being said, that's not a website you should look up. No, it's nothing, but it's a private torting, anime torting website.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I realized you need to get a positive rating to keep downloading. Which is fucking hard when you have 16 kilobytes of upload.
Yep.
That was disastrous. No, that's where I got a lot of my anime back in the day, because box torrents had the best collections, and they had the best community for it. I got into a lot of things at that time.
By comparison, when I first got into things like Naruto, you had to watch them on YouTube, and YouTube still had a harsh limit back then.
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. So you had like Naruto episode 27, part 1, part 2, part 3, but now in Spanish.
Yeah, and then you also had the issue that some episodes were broken up in wrong parts. So you got parts from other episodes while you were expecting episode 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah, and eventually I moved on to websites like I had family, my nephews that were far more into like pirated anime.
Yeah.
And they eventually said, oh, you have to watch an anime Shippuden, which was an ad-laden fucking nightmare of a website. Like, as I remember it was just a long list of all the shows they had.
Yeah.
Completely botched by ads, and like every word was different color, and oh god.
Yeah, I watched it on a website called Anime Season. Whatever the fuck it was. That was a clean ass website. Just black borders, having Kira up in the banner from Death Note, and just having nice tabs, just like Startpagina or something.
Yeah.
And it was new anime, action anime, everything was nicely broken up. No ads, nothing.
Yeah.
There was a reason this website died.
It was too good to live.
Yeah. So I went to downloading a lot.
It took a long time. At one point, I just started buying my anime because I had money, I had time, I worked hard, so I was like, okay, I can just buy these things and don't need to bother with these fucking websites. Eventually, through like my girlfriend, I realized that Kiss Anime was a thing, so I used that for a while. And eventually, we set up our own initiatives and just started doing Bakabete and torrenting myself, because fuck websites, man.
Yeah, I just remembered something I got into. I went to, when I got kicked out of school, I went to another school, obviously. And that school was the zero fucks given school. As in, the teachers didn't give a shit if you appeared yes or no, if you actually learned. As long as you didn't cause any problems. This was also a system where you can do your final exam at any point before you're 16, but you just have to stay on that school until you're 16. So literally the first day I got there, I asked, when can I do my final exam? Tomorrow, okay. So I did that. I got an A on it and just had to go to school for 2 years not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like a vrije school.
Not entirely, but it's more for misbehaving children and just to get them anywhere except home. So my teacher was also kind of in anime, but more than normal stuff.
Yeah.
And me being a 14-year-old weirdo came to school and I was like, I have a new anime for you, teach. Oh, and I showed him Kiss Exist. Of all the things to show your teacher, I showed him Kiss Exist, the OVA.
I'm not even mad.
The dude just looked at it and he was like, nah, bro, something's wrong with you.
I know it is because you're here, but also, oh dear.
I couldn't agree more with him, by the way. But he was a nice dude. I got into Kiss Exist. I'm still reading that. That's still going.
That's actually something I want to get into. Because Kiss Exist is for you the thing that you've watched for so long and you still stand by it. But you also mentioned the earlier shows, like the one that went from a 7 to a 4 at best. I actually stand by a lot of the early obsessions I had. I still think that the original Hellsing was pretty damn cool, and I really liked it, and I didn't like Ultimate.
I mean, we got very different tastes in that regard, because you watched some actual good stuff. I watched a lot of smut back in the day. Maburaho, Ladies vs. Butler, Love Hina. Although Love Hina is actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
Strike Witches. No. Strike Witches.
God.
Yeah, that was... Okay, this is the funniest thing. At that point, I was still kind of convinced that it was okay. But then I ordered the Blu-ray with you and started watching the first 3 minutes with you, and I was like, oh god, this is far worse than I remember. This is horrid. Stop.
Oh, we were both absolutely eager to get out of there.
Oh, I was horrified. I distinctly remember enjoying that show. And then I put it in the PS3 with you where I was watching. Nah, bro, this ain't it. We need to stop this.
Let's not forget that Strike Witches almost cost us a friendship. Okay, not naming any names, but one of our friends, when he watched Strike Witches, he went into a panic because
he's a bit touchy.
Strike Witches is incredibly visual, shall we say.
Very lowly.
Yeah.
And, well, he's kind of touchy and messy about details.
Mm-hmm.
And he got really scared about getting in jail for being a pedophile for that.
Yeah, even though this is literally a show you can just
buy in the Netherlands. No issue. Yeah, after he realized that, he was fine, by the way. He didn't care anymore. He doesn't care at all anymore at this point. But at that point, he was not in the best mindset.
Yeah, but as I say, Helsing, I still like it, and I could never get into the Ultimate because of how it changed.
Yeah.
Elfenlied, I've still rewatched quite a few times since then, and I still enjoy Elfenlied a lot.
Okay, I enjoy watching it.
The only uncertainty is Death Note, because I haven't rewatched Death Note in years.
Fair.
Not since I think... When did I leave middle school? When I was 12, 13, I think, is the last time I watched it.
Are you sure? Because you leave middle school at 16. Here.
No, wait. I'm missing primary school.
Primary school, elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 12, 13. Yeah, for me, I watched so much shit back then because Camphor. I always also watched Camphor.
That's another one, yeah.
That's also one. But Elfenlied, I definitely watched that. But I've recently tried to watch, or did watch that. And then often you forget details and then you see the details and again you're like, ooh, that's a bit suspect. That's a bit weird. So I agree that Elfenlied is enjoyable to watch, but it's also a bit of a weird edge case.
Can I say that on the podcast?
Oh, God. And getting to that, I actually also remember, because I also loved gaming back then, so I had the PlayStation magazine. Mm-hmm. And in the back, they advertised anime figurines.
Mm-hmm.
I distinctly remember fucking Nude Lucy figurine they were advertising in this 12+ magazine. Mm-hmm. And that was just like, Patrick opening the magazine, sees nude, and it's like, oh, those are titties.
Oh, my.
I'll close this so that nobody sees it. This is mine.
When you're using the, what was it, Jetix magazine? PlayStation magazine?
PlayStation magazine.
When the PlayStation magazine disappears into your spank bank.
No, also, I just want to add, also not anime related, that Fox Kids magazine was absolutely a fucking trash heap.
Yep.
Because they did game reviews. Okay, nice. Problem is, they did that with pirated copies. They reviewed Kirby Superstars Deluxe for the Superstar Deluxe for the DS.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't out in Europe. They had to pirate it to actually review it, which is funny as hell to me. Also makes me realize that probably all their DS games are pirated that they reviewed.
I'm not even mad.
Oh no, I'm not mad because everyone in the fucking Netherlands had an R4 or an M3 or like a gateway card for their DS.
Yeah, valid.
I think I bought 12, 13 DS games. Then I realized what a flash card was. I sold them all to get the flash card. And at that time, like a 4 gig card was enormous. So I bought that with it. Yeah.
Endless games.
No,
what I was about to say kind of reminded me of something that you pointed out in the train.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much like aroused by Elfenlied as I was by Kira Vincent Davis's voice acting. What you mentioned in the train, like that you missed Android 17's voice 18's voice actors because Oh, that's
That's a voice.
that's a domineering voice. Yeah, that might have Elfleet might have incited some of my preferences.
Yeah, in Kai, she just sounds like just a sneering bitch.
Yeah.
Not like she doesn't feel like she's all there. How do I explain that? I didn't mean mentally, just she doesn't have the presence that she used to have. In the English dub, you know that she means business. You know that she is important. She just feels like a background character in Kai, in the new dub.
I'm gonna pay attention to it when we watch more.
Yeah, fair.
But, like, I can still watch Elfleet and just hearing Lucy's voice come through. Just,
Fair.
oh man, I used to play Mugen a lot,
Same.
which had a Lucy, which had Lucy in it as well.
No shit, Mugen has every character. It has the fucking one-hit Orca.
Mugen is fantastic.
It's such
But if you played Lucy, like, sometimes the voice line would play, and you get the voice line like liar, and that ooh, that's the spine tingle when you hear Kira say that. Wow.
Yeah, for me, a lot of my anime preferences come from the time I played Stepmania. Like, religiously, by the way. Because I went to school with a bus with a few others. So this is just a carrier bus, not like a giant bus.
No, not like an American school bus.
No, they're far tinier. So, and I had a laptop, and you had time to kill because it was 45 minutes to and from my school. So we had an hour and a half to kill. And just talking to each other. We didn't like each other all that much, for the most part. So we all did our own thing. And I started to play Stepmania at that point. First only with one hand, then I got good and actually used two hands because holy shit, you got two of them. Makes it easier.
Question, was this also the school where you notoriously broke a kid's fucking knees?
I'm not agreeing. I'm not saying anything, but yes.
Okay, I remember that story then, yes.
Yes. Where I played a lot of Stepmania, but Stepmania is a rhythm game based on DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. Only you play on keyboard because easier. You can play it with pad, but on a laptop in a bus, bit frowned upon.
Generally.
So I played with a keyboard, but all the packs you could download at that point, or most of them, were anime related. And they also had background videos. I still can't fathom how I used to play Stepmania with the background videos on. I go insane when I try that now.
Yeah, you have sensitive eyes as well, so that...
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of my earlier anime interest came from that, because this was definitely around 2008 to 2011, I want to say, that I played it the most. And you had a lot of packs with the anime openings in them. So that's where I got a lot of the early Love Hina I got from Stepmania, I think.
Oh, Sakura Saku.
Yes. Oh, God damn it. Now it's in my head again.
Sorry.
Yeah, but this is gonna be that way with every anime. Sky Girls. I haven't watched Sky Girls though, but I played that song a lot because that's a fucking good song by Mel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've let you listen to that one.
All right, after this.
No, I've already let you listen to that.
Then I'm not connecting it to Sky Girls right now.
No, fair. It's the one from Black Lagoon. Same.
Yeah, I know Mel.
Yeah, no, it's just that I pointed out, and I hope you remember it. Oh. No, I got the caramel dancing of it.
Yeah.
Haruhi I watched because of it. K-On! I watched because of it. Yeah, and that's why I also have this sickening obsession with anime songs. And knowing all the artists and knowing the songs and always giving my opinion on songs in anime. So yeah, that's where I hit my stride, let's just say, where I just devoured shows whenever I could.
Yeah, I've also bore witness to the early rise of anime memes, caramel dance and such.
Nice desk.
In school, I eventually befriended. At the time, I didn't realize it as such, but early furries.
Oh no!
And they sent me a lot of DeviantArt stuff.
Yeah.
I never quite got into. I never quite got into that at all.
No.
But I just kind of did my own thing, started exploring anime in my own way, and eventually I think I got into, I got a formidable background in what kind of anime I've seen.
Yeah, I've, back then, certainly I watched like 7 smut shows for every one good show I watched. So I watched good stuff. But when did you get into manga, though?
Yeah, that's a funny one, actually. I got into manga because of The Legend of Zelda.
Ah, fair enough.
I got Akira Himekawa's version of Ocarina of Time because I was religiously addicted to Ocarina of Time, especially in my teenage years. Like from 13 to like 18, I replayed Ocarina of Time on basically everything, like almost every quarter of the year.
Okay, but can we agree that Ocarina of Time is not a very good game?
Yeah, that's something I'd love to get into, actually. In principle, I agree with you.
But from personal experience, you can't.
No, I have too much passion in that game, and also, like, I can see through a lot of the flaws.
Yeah, that's the same for me with a lot of games.
In a way that I know is completely unreasonable to demand of somebody who's just trying to get into a game.
Yeah, I know that position very well.
But yeah, I got Akira Himekawa's manga. That was confusing because first I pirated it and I had to like mentally adjust to it being in reverse. And a friend explained it to me, sent me a physical copy from Norway.
And then it began to make sense.
Yeah, then I kind of figured it out. And after that, like I got the other Akira Himekawa manga and I eventually started collecting more. Like a lot of the manga I have is actually post meeting you.
Yeah,
because I think beyond Zelda, the first big manga I bought for myself was as a Mangadaiyo.
Yeah, and I distinctly remember us agreeing to go shopping just for manga.
Yeah,
to Den Bosch at that time.
And then we got Nausicaa.
Yeah, I got the fucking giant Nazca set behind me.
Yeah, we bought that together back then. I read it and really enjoyed it. And from there, I started collecting a few things. I started collecting Soul Eater.
Yeah.
After watching the anime with you, and from there, I just started expanding. And I always tried to focus on omnibuses.
Yeah.
But eventually, through cons and such, I started picking up separate volumes and just expanding my collection.
Yeah, I started with this.
Yeah.
The Kleinot mangas, which still pet peeves me. Because I couldn't get the earlier chapters anymore. Because, well, as I've shown you, in the back you get the subscription page. But you can also say if you want the older ones.
Yeah.
You can cross them off and they...
Wait, how expensive is that?
That's $2.95 plus 35 shipping costs.
Oh man, that's nothing.
No, that's indeed nothing. But the problem being, at that time, I started at 28. Chapter 28, volume 28.
Yeah.
And there are 98, I believe. I couldn't get the early ones. My stepmother didn't agree to that one. But I could get all the future ones. And they didn't send me the last one, which still bothers me to this day. I had the subscription, they just didn't send me the last one. I still have the second to last one there. After that, I got the Kingdom Hearts manga, Shaman King, everything that we had at the supermarket at that time, actually. Our supermarket had some simple manga, like, as I said, Shaman King, Dragon Balls, Kingdom Hearts, a few things. So I started there. Then around 2010, I'd like to say I really got into collecting manga, but more. It started with Parasite.
Oh, yeah, good point.
With Parasite,
you talked about it. You found it through a YouTube channel, I believe.
Yes, the Happy Console Gamer, I believe he's called. He still makes videos, and he said it was an amazing manga. And I went to the comic store in Den Bosch. And they had it. So I just was like, yep, that's mine. Now I want to read that now. And that's how I really got into it, starting that. Since then, I got a lot more and I blackmailed the fuck out of this one to get this set.
Yep.
Because this is the last uncensored, well-printed set that's complete that you can easily get in Europe by that time. But I missed out on it. buying it because I believe this set was 100, this was 150 back then. I believe they go for a lot more right now.
Oh man, I don't think you even want to know.
No, I don't think so. And a friend of mine bought them, Robin, and I could get my hands on it. So years later, I just bought him a shitload of games that he couldn't pay back. He got, and he blackmailed himself into giving these to me. I love it. So I still have the sets that I really liked. Now I'm just going to look up how expensive these sets are.
Go ahead. I do have to say that something I'm thankful for is that I think that my continued interest in anime has been fueled by people like you. Because when I started getting into anime myself, it was mostly through the influence of my cousins who were watching Naruto and told me to go watch it as well.
Yeah.
But I hyper-focused on one thing and just didn't really explore much.
400, 300.
Oh, there you go. Eventually got, in middle school I got a girlfriend that was really into anime. Would later become a furry, but that's besides the point. And that kind of drove me to try and few other anime. She was very much into Black Butler, by the way.
Oh, of course she was.
Big yaoi shipper and such. I literally never tried Black Butler, even at her insistence.
No, I think it definitely helps to have friends that are actually into it, because I'm fully aware that I wouldn't even do this podcast if I didn't have someone to actually work my interests off of.
Yeah, and but also eventually got another girlfriend that was also into anime, and that's kind of motivated me to find more and also start collecting more.
Look at this Casanova ass motherfucker.
Eventually, not too long after I met you, and what
was my introduction sentence to you again?
I believe my introduction sentence to you was like, "Hey, you like anime, so you're into sword art?" And just no. And then we walked back after I treated you to Subway. It's like, "Hey, you like horror?" And you were like, if you said to me, "You like horror?" Pretty much. Go watch Serial Experiments Lane and Guns.
Oh, Guns is a thing. You need to have a stomach for it.
Yeah. I still need to go back to it sometime because I started it, and the first scene in Guns is the guy sitting in class, getting a hard on, and one of the classmates, "He's got a dick!"
How dare he? Oh no!
I just immediately oh man, this is so fucking stupid. I'm not in the fucking mood for this.
Just the social commentary of Gans is so fucking depressing, and that manga, I really need to read the manga. Oh dear.
The main protagonist is here.
Come
Bless
here.
him.
Come here, you little rascal.
Yeah, Guns is something different. I probably still need to give it a chance someday.
Yeah, I think I'll enjoy more watching it back, because I watched it when I was definitely in my edgy phase. So I just enjoyed it for being edgy, not for being a good show.
Yeah.
So I still want to rewatch that.
I think also Guns came kind of... You recommended me Guns came kind of at a point where I started rejecting edginess, because that's also when I watched and completely hated Genocyber.
Yeah, that's definitely...
yeah, that's when I started gravitating more towards series like Asamanka Daioh. I started rewatching. You introduced me to Nichio, which we eventually watched together. So I started gravitating more towards those kind of shows. Like when we got in the same class together.
Yeah.
I was really, really big in Yuri Slice of Life.
Yes.
I had to give a class presentation, and my background wallpaper was a Yuri art piece for Is the Order a Rabbit? Gochimon was
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, that's a choice.
I am a man of taste and very little shame.
Oh yeah, no, this when I usually with me, I want to preserve my anime interest, so I just pushed it onto other people, and if you reject it, that's fine, because then I just stop. But I always like to try, and I got a lot of people into anime that never watched it. I mean, you're contrary to that because you already watched anime to begin with.
Yeah.
But Rolf, I got into anime. Etje, kinda. He doesn't care anymore, maar I started to watching Dragon Ball with him back in the day. A few more friends that I got into anime back then. But there are definitely people I don't want to watch anime.
No. Like if I go back in that story that I just told about my cousins, my nephews getting me into anime, and then through the girlfriends, with those few people that I still keep up with, like their taste in anime never really changed or just completely fizzled out.
Yeah. With me, I don't say it evolved. It did, because I usually only watch smut. But now I watch kind of all over the place. I do have this policy that even if I don't like it, but I can acknowledge that it's good, that I at least finish it to have a solid opinion about it. If it, but the worst thing a show can do is be mediocre. Just straight up mediocre, because then it just gets a drag to watch. And I don't like it when it just becomes a drag to watch. Because then there's nothing to appreciate.
So we've kind of run through our entire life story, basically almost up to where we are now.
Mostly, yeah.
One thing that we kind of skipped over, not sure if that is due to a lack of manliness on your part, but we shall figure that out. What was your first...
Hentai?
Hentai.
Oh no, back in the day it wasn't hentai, baby. It was hantai.
Hantai.
Because that's how I found it in Google. That's how I found my websites, baby. I think it started with a Flash game. I'm pretty sure for me. Then I found out it was hentai, and then I figured out it was actually hentai. And then I ended up on a beautiful site called Dojinmo. Of Moe, sorry. .com at that time, and now it's dojinmoe.us. I got a lot of my early hentai influence from there. And we have, of course, the Illusion games.
I was about to ask. That's what I want to ask about, because you actually...
I was there early.
Subjected yourself to Illusion at an early age.
Yeah, I was like... Tomo wants to sniff my bag. Idiot. I started that when I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
And I just figured out, wait, there's interactive hentai? So, yeah, I was pretty early in that regard.
Yeah. I was subjected to the term hentai through LimeWire. Because you start looking for things, and eventually you get like vaguely related things like Simpsons hentai XXX.
Yes.
Like, what does this
full
mean?
Movie? Don't forget full movie.
Oh, absolutely. The full movie is probably the full movie of Rick Ashley dancing, but
yes.
Nevertheless, started looking for that term and not immediately finding much. I didn't end up reading much hentai. Like, reading actual doujinshi is something that I only started doing in recent years. Eventually, like, Faku was a thing when I started actually reading doujinshi.
Oh yeah, that's already past my prime.
Yeah, but instead of Illusion, I started playing like games on Newgrounds eventually. That had a few hentai things.
Yeah, that's the weird one for me. I never had Newgrounds. I never looked at Newground, because Robin said that to me, like, I always used to play Newgrounds, and I was like, oh yeah, Newgrounds is a thing, right?
Yeah,
never played on that.
I wasn't interested in most of their games.
No,
but like they did have like a lot of like hentai-esque games, hentai adjacent games, and through that I found a few actual like full animations. And I figured, no, there must be more, and that eventually led me down to actually finding websites that hosted full anime hentai OVAs, I should say. I
mean, I can confidently state what my first hentai experience was. That would be a Lovina dating sim, one of the cheapos. And then you win the girl, you get the titties. And well, if you're familiar with it, Zone kinda did that.
Yeah. That I don't know if that's a man or a woman, whatever. That person contributed a lot to degenerating a generation of people that knew how to run Flash games.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, I think that covers almost all mediums.
I'm trying to remember what my first actual hentai OVAs were.
Oh, for me, probably Bible Black. I'm an OG boy.
Yeah. No, I'm still trying to find the original first one I read, which was a fantasy hentai OVA. And I found several that I watch but aren't it. So that's an ongoing quest. That's my life's journey.
Yeah.
My like in the Sims tree, that's my life ambition.
Yeah, I think that covers most of it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm glad that we spun this off into his own thing instead of
the
main episode.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Side Character Podcast. The main protagonist is actually asleep right now, but he also wishes you well. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Have a nice day.